Empower You podcast is devoted to bringing real-world wisdom and encouragement to our listeners. We discuss a multitude of life principles and the process from an economic, cultural, and societal perspective. We believe that through tough conversations and shared wisdom, we can pave the path and leave a ladder for the future. Subscribe to our channel and let us empower you.
The University of St. Francis Music Technology Bachelor's and Associate's degree programs allow students to focus on the genre and specific area of the music industry that interests them. With concentrations in audio production, audio for video post-production, live sound, music business, and contemporary artist development, there's something for everyone. Here are just a few examples of students' music. Go to sf.edu to learn more.
Welcome to Empower You podcast. My name is Kidboy Cooper. I am so glad that you are here. For today's episode, we're going to do a little reflection. There's some things that I got going on that I want to share with you guys, and hopefully you guys will really enjoy listening. So here we go. So what we've been talking about this series is education, right? We've been talking about the different ways education is going to look in the future, as well as some of the conversation around how it's been done in the past and how we can do things a little bit better, how we internalize education, how we frame it. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my own journey with education, a little bit about my own process and where I'm at now, as well as some things that I'm doing, if that's okay with you guys. So, when I was 18, I decided that, well, before I was 18, but when I was 18, I decided I was going to leave home and go to school. I was going to move away from home and start my educational career and get a degree in music technology, which turned into a degree for audio for creative arts. I had never heard of this degree, and I had never really, understood quite how far-reaching it could be. But I did know I wanted to work with audio, I wanted to work with film, I wanted to work with video, and it seemed like a really great opportunity, and so I took it. I moved, and from that time on, I was a music tech major. And when I got to Fort Wayne, where I went to school at the University of St. Francis, I went through a massive culture shock and I failed everything. I came there with a 4.0, and by the end of the semester, I had like a 1.9. It was absolutely terrible. And so when I went home, I just didn't tell anybody, right? I just bore all of this shame and I just didn't say anything. And I just kind of tried to pretend as though I was okay. And I wasn't, right? I wasn't okay. But what I decided, instead of dropping out of classes and just going back home, I said, listen, I'm going to give this one more shot in the spring. And if it really doesn't go well, I guess that's just it. I guess I'm just done. So I went back. And I took as many classes as I could that I felt like I could pass, because I just wanted to get my grade point average back up, get some confidence back. And so I did that. And that semester went pretty okay. Still not great, but pretty okay. And then I worked. I didn't go home. I just worked all through the summer, and I took lessons. I took voice lessons, piano. I just stayed in the environment because I wanted to get better, and I knew that I couldn't give up. And so I did that. And then that next semester, I took a lot of classes over. A lot of classes like, intro to music technology, ear training, piano, a couple of other studio classes. I think it was Studio One at the time. I don't know what it's called now. But I took all of these classes. I took a MIDI. I took all these classes because I realized that I had to go back and fix it, right? I had to give myself a better shot. And so I did. And by the end of that next fall, I was on the dean's list. I was able to really solidify myself as a good student. My professors liked me and they saw my work ethic. And so I started to build a bit of a name for myself as a go-getter and somebody that would get it done. And I was really thankful for that, because that confidence gave me the foresight to see that, more than just doing audio, like I want to own something. I want to be in control. I want to build something spectacular. And I didn't know what it was going to be yet, but it was just a seed that had been planted in my mind. So, graduated, fast forward some more years, fast forward some more struggles. I graduated and I was able to have a decent, grade point average. I think it was like a 3.6 or 3.2, one of the two. And I got through school. It was a milestone. And then I went directly into working, right? I had been working through college, but I went directly into working. I started working as a stage technician, and then I got jobs doing different touring, regionally touring production work. I started acting and singing, and I started to go through a process of refining my skills. And it was rough. It was tough. I learned that, what you learn in school versus what you're actually going to do in your career field might be completely different. It might be completely different, and everyone has their own processes for doing things. So while it is important to understand, it's not necessarily the end all be all, because once you get to an environment where they're going to teach you their way, you just really need to know the handles of your craft. And over time, you become really excellent at it and you can go in and implement more. But I was just learning. I was learning a lot and going through a lot of stuff. And I was able to build a decent portfolio. I worked with a lot of different people, really broad range of skill sets, from live productions to post-production engineering to location sound recording to voiceovers to voiceover mixing to films and documentaries and commercials and campaign videos. You name it, I did it. And so I was really busy. I was doing pretty well, from a career standpoint. But then I realized that all of my gigs were based off of other people, right? And their schedules and their needs, which is cool. But when the pandemic happened, all of the schedules went away. Everybody's careers went on hold. A lot of our careers went on hold. Maybe not everyone's, but a lot of our careers went on hold, especially in the live entertainment industry. And so it was tough. It was tough. And at that point, I realized I have the resources and the skills to do this myself. And I had been thinking a lot about podcasting. I had been working with other people's audio. And I was like, I'm going to do this for myself, though, not for other people. I'm going to do this because I believe I have something to say and I have something to give. And I want to be the Kidboy never had, right? I want to be the guy who people who are coming up look up to see that it's possible. I can come from, Gary, Indiana, or whatever adverse circumstance you come from, and I can do it. I'm smart enough. I'm worthy. I can absolutely do it. And so that's what I set out to do. And so that became Empower You Podcast. Empower You Podcast is super special to me because I'm able to connect with people in a way that you just can't otherwise, right? Maybe people don't have the time to. And for me, my goal is to document the process of success, to document the process of self-development and self-betterment, of self-actualization, of becoming more than you were before. Because we all should have the privilege of those choices, of that understanding, of that knowledge. And so that's what I do with Empower You Podcast. And then something else happened. I realized there are so many more people like you, Kidboy, who really deserve an opportunity, who would love an opportunity to speak, right? To reach out to their audiences, to solve a problem, to be inspirational, to reach other people in a way that is both impactful and that doesn't drain them. I said, there's got to be more people who are in the same boat I'm in. They want a way to connect with people. They want a way to serve. They want a way to make the world better. And sometimes social media can be a little self-deprecating because it's just never enough. Whereas with podcasting, it's an activity that you can feel both the joy of doing it and the relief of it being over, right? So you can get out of the hamster wheel, and then you can just continue to use the content as inspiration, as social media posts, as a way to feed your desired audience. I was like, wow, this could really be something. And so I decided to do two things. One, I decided to continue to share not only just on Empower You Podcast, but all of my expertise about podcasting. I decided that I was going to break down into as many easy to execute pieces the process of podcasting, how I did it, right? How I was able to make thousands of dollars doing it, how I've generated thousands of downloads, how I did it all within a year. Well, technically my career started a lot longer than the podcast, but how I was able to take this brand that I started a year ago and utilize the skill set that I had to make it something really special. And it's not just skill set, right? It's who you are. Who are you? What do you truly desire to bring into the world? I think that's a big question you gotta ask yourself. It's a very important question. And once you've figured that out, you can shape your life around the answer to that question. What do I want to bring out in the world? What problem can I solve? How can I help other people? If you understand those things, you really need a podcast. And so I decided I was gonna teach people. I was gonna coach. So I put together all these materials and all these modules and all these resources and homeworks and step-by-step guides and tutorials, because I just wanted to be as helpful as I could be. And so throughout this process of creating Empower You Podcast, of continuing to nurture Empower You Podcast, I've decided to really extend my help, my services, my expertise, my creativity to others who are looking to do the same thing. And so I want to invite you guys to come out if you are interested in the Podcast Creation Bootcamp. It's going to be at Come As You Are Community Church. It's going to be on October 16th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. There's going to be lunch and coffee and all the stuff that you need. Because we have to do a better job of sharing what we know with the world. And I don't mean just in little viral videos. I mean, we have to do a better job of documenting the processes that we're using, because as we have discussed in previous episodes in this series about education, there's coming up behind us a group of young people who need more tools, who need your valuable insight, your valuable expertise. They need it. And if we don't take the time to be a leader, we can't criticize them for who they follow. Does that make sense? If we don't take the time to be real leaders in our communities, in our industries, in our perspective spaces in life, we cannot be frustrated or angry at the young people or the youth or social media or society as a whole for who they follow, because we ourselves haven't taken the initiative to put positive things in the environments for young people, for others. And I want you to think about that. Who are you impacting by not doing anything? Who are you impacting by refusing to get out of your comfort zone? I was like, wow, this is great. This is incredible. And so I decided that I was gonna really dive into coaching. And so on my birthday, December 16th of 2020, I decided I was gonna open my coaching program, and I did, right on my birthday. And it's been great. It's been great. I've been able to help people start their podcasts. And I'm working on some really special podcasts right now with some organizations. But I want you to learn how to podcast. If you are listening to this and you have an expertise or a skill set, maybe you own a business or you're a community leader, perhaps you work with a nonprofit organization or a community organization, and you're looking for ways to build your audience, right? You're looking for ways to create engaging content that actually impacts your desired audience. Maybe you need more leads in your business and you want a way to automate the process of educating new potential leads, meaning you're taking warm leads, you're indoctrinating them, and then they come back. Maybe you need processes for this. Maybe you're tired of spinning your wheels on social media, trying to learn all these TikTok dances and all the latest IG stuff. Maybe you just want to focus on the income generating activities like making more offers, taking more meetings, working with your clients for more, in order to give them more high-end results. Maybe that's where you're at. That's where I've been at. And that's what I created this Podcast Bootcamp to do. In the Podcast Bootcamp on October 16th from 10 to 4 p.m., 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Come As You Are Community Church. We're going to break it all down. We're going to talk about developing a podcast and how you can take what you're doing already and what we can do to create a really tangible, highly engaging, highly valuable product out of it. We're going to talk about the production, what it's like to actually produce a podcast, from software to equipment to literally everything, like time management, how to make your podcast sound great, how to make yourself engaging. We're going to talk about that. How to distribute your podcast, how to get it in front of as many people as possible, as easy as possible. We're going to talk about that. And then the last piece, which is really important because it says a lot about you and your company or your organization or your church. And we're going to talk about the branding and the marketing. How do I take this thing, my expertise, and I wrap it up into my existing brand or create a new brand out of it? How do I take these solutions, all the information that I have learned and been given, how do I package that in such a way that gives me the most and the longest amount of reach? How do I partner with other organizations that I work with already to provide more solutions to my ideal client by way of sponsorships, partnerships, collaborations? How do we do all that? It's a lot of gray areas, right? I know how. I've done it. And I really want to show you if this is something that you're interested in. Okay. The Podcast Creation Bootcamp is going to be at Come As You Are Community Church, 7910 South Anthony Boulevard, 46816. From 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We'll have lunch, coffee. We'll have breaks in there so that you're not just sitting. You'll want to bring a notebook, a pen and paper. You're going to want to bring your computer. You're going to want to bring your phone, obviously, because we're going to dive into it. And you're going to leave with so much great information. And I can't wait to see you there. Podcasting has enabled me to reach people I just never would have. People all over the world are listening to Empower You podcast. People in Ireland, people in Hawaii, people in the Ukraine, people in Australia. It's wild. And you have a message. You have something to say. And you should invest in what it means to say it. Because our paths are given to us for a reason. They're given to us so that we can leave trails, so that we can leave markings, so that we can leave examples. And if we're not serious about leaving examples, of leaving a ladder, as I would say, I think your own ladder eventually is going to get shortened, because we have to give, right? People who are super tight with everything, it's difficult to reach them. And if it's difficult to reach them, then people can't pour into them properly, and they can't pour into other people properly. And so you start this cycle of getting drunk on your own ego and idea. And for myself, that's not what I want. I want to build valuable things and help people create solutions, create audience that changes the world. So I just want to invite you, come to the Podcast Creation Bootcamp. Okay, October the 16th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's at Come As You Are Community Church, 7910 South Anthony Boulevard, 46816. All of the information will be in the show notes. But I want you to check it out. This event is for community organizations, nonprofits, small businesses, and for teenagers as well, who are looking to learn more skill sets in order to be more dynamic in the work field. Come on down. I'm happy to teach you. I'm happy. So listen, I want you to go to Empower You Podcast on Facebook or Instagram, and I want you to click the link. It's either in a bio or in a post. It's definitely both places, but a bio or post. And I want you to register for the event, okay? And if you need to, you can bring somebody. There's a group right there as well that would help, manage any financial commitments that you need to make. But most of all, you need to be there, because you need this information before it's too far gone. Everything happens for a reason. I think sometimes we can get really caught up with how the circumstances look, myself included, but everything happens for a reason, and you're meant to take action. You're meant to do the thing. You're meant to have the power, but you gotta take action. So click the link in the bio, click the link in the show notes, and come support. Come learn the skill of podcasting. You got this. All right, y'all. Thank you all so much for listening to Empower You Podcast. I got so many great episodes coming up for you guys. It's wild. This series on education is incredible. I'm so happy about it. But your homework for today is to go click the link in the bio and register for the event. Okay? And if you need to register for someone else, you can do that too. But you need to click the link in the bio and go register. All right? You all have an amazing day, and I will talk to you guys super soon with another episode of Empower You Podcast. Peace. Empower You Podcast is devoted to bringing real-world wisdom and encouragement to our listeners. We discuss a multitude of life principles and the process from an economic, cultural, and societal perspective. We believe that through tough conversations and shared wisdom, we can pave the path and leave a ladder for the future. Subscribe to our channel and let us empower you.